Hanoi is one of the most beautiful cities in Asia. It's sometimes called the Pearl of the Orient because it has the luster, serenity, and the translucent beauty of a rare pearl. Many large cities in Asia have taken on a frantic pace, but the rhythm here in Hanoi is slow and easy. Visitors quickly adjust to the tempo and begin to enjoy the beauty of the parks, shaded boulevards, and ancient buildings. The blend of Asian, French colonial, and modern Western style buildings give Hanoi an architectural diversity found in few other places. Hanoi became the capital of Vietnam in the year 1010. Today, it is a vibrant, modern city, very much in step with the world of today. The people of Hanoi are moving forward, while at the same time carefully and lovingly preserving their past. Kiem Lake is the physical and emotional epicenter of Hanoi. The graciously serene, tree-lined lake awakens in the morning mists with residents practicing the ritual of Tai Chi and goes to sleep under the silvery reflection of the moon. This is perhaps the best place to begin your visit to Hanoi. On the northeast corner of the lake, you will find the Rising Sun Bridge. The bridge allows visitors to cross over to a small island, which is the home of the Jade Mountain Temple. The temple was built in 1843. A pin-shaped tower at the entrance to the bridge contains Chinese characters that read, "To write on the blue sky, and where the rays of the morning sun touch." It is from this quote the Rising Sun Bridge got its name. On the south end of the lake, you will find a tiny island with a shrine called the Tortoise Tower. A 15th century legend tells of Emperor Li Loi boating on the lake when a giant golden tortoise presented him with a magical sword, which he used to drive the Chinese from Vietnam. In accordance with the pact made with the tortoise, the emperor returned the sword after winning victory. The name Hoan Kiem means restored sword because the tortoise restored the sword to its divine owners. The tortoise is the unofficial symbol of Hanoi. Southeast of the lake, you will enter the French colonial part of Hanoi. There you will find the National Bank, the graceful Metropole Hotel, the Hanoi Opera House, and the magnificent History Museum. On the west side of the lake, you will find St. Joseph's Cathedral. The neo-Gothic structure was built in 1886, and worshippers still attend Mass here. Nearby is the infamous Hao Prison, built by the French in 1898. Later it was used to house American prisoners of war who dubbed it the Hanoi Hilton. Hua Lo translates to the furnace. It was originally built to house 500 prisoners, but within a few decades it held over 2,000. Many were political prisoners who opposed French colonial rule. Conditions were extremely harsh and thousands of prisoners were tortured and died. Ironically, the symbol of inhumanity and barbarity to the Vietnamese was reincarnated in the 1960s and early 70s, when it became the house of horrors for American prisoners of war. Only a portion of the prison remains today. Most of it has been torn down to make way for a modern high-rise office building. The portion that remains is a museum largely dedicated to the memory of Vietnamese patriots who suffered and died to liberate their country. One small section has exhibits related to the American POWs, including a flight suit worn by Senator John McCain when he was captured. One block further south is the Quan Su Pagoda, or Ambassador's Pagoda, which dates to the 13th century. Immediately north of Hoan Kiem Lake is an area called the 36 Streets. It has been the city's marketplace for over 1,000 years. The 36 Streets is a cacophonous jumble. You can easily spend a day or two exploring the hundreds of shops that line the street. This is shopping Hanoi style. If you're looking for gifts or souvenirs, this is probably the best single place in all of Vietnam to find them. Ba Dien Square is located in the northwest quadrant of the city. It has a number of very popular attractions set in a beautiful park-like setting. Here you'll find Hanoi's Botanical Gardens, Ho Chi Minh's House on Stilts, the Presidential Palace, originally built by the French to serve as the palace of the Governor General of Indochina, and the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. Ho Chi Minh rejected the idea that he should live in a presidential palace. Instead, he asked that a simple peasant stilt house be built beside a pond in the Botanical Gardens near the square. The home is a modest 20 square meter, two-room structure built of teak wood. Ho Chi Minh lived and worked in the house from 1958 until his death in 1969. He conducted high-level government conferences in the open-air area beneath the house and relaxed by feeding the fish in the pond. The house sits at the end of a gravel pathway and is surrounded by fruit trees and orchards. Nearby is the one-pillar pagoda, built in 1049. It is an architectural masterpiece of Vietnamese design. The pagoda, inspired by a lotus flower, rests serenely atop one pillar surrounded by a pond. South of the Ba Dien area is the beautiful Temple of Literature. It was constructed in 1070 in honor of Confucius. 6 years later, it became the site of Vietnam's first national university. And for the next 800 years, the vast majority of Vietnam Mandarin-class scholars were educated here. West Lake, or Ho Tay, is a large lake north of the Ba Dien area. The main area of interest is the lake's southwest corner, where it borders the much smaller Truc Bac Lake, or White Silk Lake. The Tran Quoc Pagoda is on a causeway separating the lakes. This pagoda dates from the 6th century, when Vietnam briefly won its independence from Chinese rule. Nearby, you'll find a modern-day monument commemorating the shooting down and capture of John McCain. McCain, who went on to become a United States Senator from Arizona and presidential candidate, was held at the Hanoi Hilton. The Thang Long Water Puppet Theater near Hoa Kiem Lake features an art form unique to Vietnam. Puppeteers stand in a waist-deep pond and manipulate elaborately carved, lacquered puppets from behind a screen. They create scenes depicting legends of history and rural life. You will see fire-breathing dragons, naval battles, dancing maidens, children fishing and tending water buffalo. Musicians accompany the puppets and provide all of the sound effects and voices. The 900-seat Hanoi Opera House is one of the most famous and beautiful buildings in Hanoi. It took 10 years to construct and had its first performance in 1911. On August 16, 1945, representatives of the Viet Minh stood on the balcony and announced to residents that they had taken control of the country from the French. The History Museum is one of Hanoi's most beautiful buildings. It was completed in 1932. The building's design represents a fusion of Asian and French architectural styles and is considered a work of art in itself. The museum has 2,000 square meters of exhibition space. Galleries display prehistoric artifacts as well as items from dynastic periods and the Kiem Empire. The museum contains over 7,000 priceless sculptures and artifacts. Hanoi is a very cosmopolitan city. There are many opportunities for fine dining. The city offers a range of cuisine from Asian and around the world. You will find Chinese, Japanese, and Thai. You will also find Western style, especially French. You will of course find Vietnamese, which is becoming better known around the world because of its freshness, delicate flavors, and healthiness. Hanoi has some of the finest hotels in the world, with all of the amenities that you would expect, including air conditioning and very reasonable prices. Most have internet access, English language cable television channels, including CNN and BBC World, as well as telephones, laundry service, minibars, and room safes. Perhaps the best-known hotel in Hanoi is the Metropole. It is the Dowager Empress of Hanoi hotels and has been receiving ambassadors, heads of state, diplomats, and businessmen for over 100 years. The hotel also offers cooking classes that begin with a trip to the market and ends with lunch in the dining room. Ask anyone who has ever been to Hanoi and they will tell you it is the trip of a lifetime. And they will add, "I only wish I'd been able to stay longer."